to share with you guys. I got 2 new notebooks. I have this one back here, which I think is fantastic. But in this one, I was writing stuff for my novel, and I was writing stuff for my YouTube channel. And I was blending them in together, and it was bothering me. So I decided to buy a new notebook. So this is going to be my YouTube notebook for now. This is going to be my writing notebook. So far, I haven't really done much on here. And by writing notebook, I mean like brainstorming stuff that have to do with the book that I'm writing. So far I have this and this, which is like my plot brainstorming stuff. And then this one, I came across a video, and it's this girl, I think, what is the channel? Witty Novels, maybe? I don't remember, I'm not 100% sure. And I saw that she was keeping a journal for her dreams, and she would have a dream at night, and in the morning she would try to recollect as much information as possible and write it inside a notebook. So I've tried to do that. So far I got one down. I wrote a little something for myself to, you know, so I won't give up, I guess. And then I started to do this, and the reason why I cut it out was because I was already typing, so I was like, why not just print it and glue it in here and make that about that. But it's not just going to be for dreams. I'm going to use it for different things, daily stuff that I want to write, emotions, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, these are my 2 new notebooks, and I think they are fantastic, and I love them. Welcome to the family, babies. Hola familia, and welcome back to Writing with Gray. I am on a Tuesday-Thursday upload schedule with the exception of today. So if you'd like to follow me on this journey, on this writing journey, please do subscribe. Anyways, today I'm here to talk about, today's episode is based on, that sounded way more cooler in my head than it did as I said it. But anyways, today's episode, I want to focus on the reasons why I like to write poetry. Poetry, along the years, has become something that I enjoy to do. I do remember, however, how much of a negative connotation poetry has. If you write poetry, you are such a softie. You are such a, I don't know, you feel too much. You're too this, you're too that, and it always becomes, you know, it always has that idea behind it. I remember being in high school and even now in college, and I see how professors and teachers want you to dissect a poem. They want you to tear it apart and look for the underneath meaning. The meaning hidden in the underneath. I don't know. I can't speak, apparently. But anyways, they want you to dissect it. They want you to take it apart. They want you to make something of it that maybe isn't there, you know? And I've always been a fan of poetry. I like to read it, but hate is a strong word. I don't like when teachers and professors and stuff make you feel like there's a deeper meaning to stuff, because sometimes there is no deeper meaning. Sometimes it is what it is. And I've hated that. I dislike it so much, because sometimes I read a poem and I connect with it, and it's so deep, and it turns something in, it turns on a light in me, and then it gets killed by, oh, but the author meant this, or how do you know what the author meant? I always wonder, how do you know what the author means if you can't speak, if you're not asking the author themselves what they meant? So I like to write poetry. I enjoy it. I love it. I love being able to cause a reaction from someone like, oh my god, you wrote that? That is amazing. Or inflict emotion like, wow, I never knew that I can feel this way up until I read this of yours, you know? Or being able to pour out my heart in such a way that I can hide my emotions within words, and it takes effort from the reader to realize that whatever is written in a poem are my feelings exact. So to me, that is incredible. It's fascinating, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Also, I do like to write lyrics, and writing lyrics, I think, is poetry with music to it. So I really enjoy that too. But one of the reasons that I just enjoy this so much, no matter what people say, no matter what people think, because then come these comments of, you're such a poet. Oh, well, your poetic little self is doing this. And, you know, I've come to do that myself. Like, if I tell someone, like the other day, for example, my friend Mary and I went on a little adventure, and I was like, wow, you know, the sky is so gloomy and gray. I wonder if the waters are going to be dark and gray as well. And do they reflect our emotions and stuff? And I'm a very emotional person in the sense that I like to talk about emotions. I like being descriptive. I like being poetic in a sense. So I do often say that, like, oh, I'm just being a poet, like, I'm being poetic. But at the same time, I've come to realize that I don't like to be labeled as a poet, because being a poet it's a difficult thing to be, I guess. It doesn't have recognition that it should. It doesn't have a lot of positive recognition, I guess. It is so hard to go out in the world with your poetry and be able to engage others to read your poetry, because it's poetry. And again, unfortunately, it has such a negative connotation unless you like it. But I love it, and it's something that I really enjoy doing, and I like to write it because of what I mentioned earlier. You know, I like to be expressive. I like to see something and bring it to life with words, and I feel like that is a big part of what poetry is. Poetry isn't just about, you know, finding words that rhyme, or no, it's about the way you describe a certain something. It's about the way you put everything into words, and you just bring it to life, and the way you read it and the way you interpret it, and it's just fascinating. I also really enjoy writing poetry because as a poet, I've come to realize that I do sit and I write about my emotions. I had a really bad day today, and I let that out on paper. Or vice versa. I had a really good day today, and I let it out on paper. But sometimes, I've had this happen to me a couple of times, and it's pretty amazing to see, and it just makes me feel like I did something right, I guess. So, I write a poem, and I have my own interpretation of it. I have my own expectations of what any reader of my poem might interpret it as. But it comes down to sharing these poems with someone, and their reaction is completely different. Their reaction is completely different than what I had anticipated, and their way of interpreting this poem is completely different from mine. And that baffles my mind, because it's like, wow, I wrote this with one idea, somebody else read it with a different idea, and another person read it, and it's a completely different idea. So it's 3 ideas in one, which is like, what the heck? Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand, but it just baffles my mind that one piece of writing can have these different effects on people, these different effects, and it can cause different reactions, and it can inflict different emotions. What can make me sad can make you happy, and can make somebody else a bit angry. And it's just fascinating to me, and I love it. I love that happens through poetry, and that's why I like to write it so often. And I've mentioned this plenty before. I just recently started posting poems on my Instagram, and I connect them with pictures, and the way that it brings it to life, the way that it works hand in hand is even better. And just those reactions, just those thoughts, just all of that is like, wow, I don't know if I made somebody's day by what I had to say, or I don't know if perhaps I made something that somebody was lacking understanding of a lot more clearer, and now they understand. And it's just, I mean, it leaves me speechless, and I love that I can do that. I love that I have that with words, and it is one of the best things that I think I've been I've been gifted with, and it's an amazing talent. I hope it never goes away, and it's just mind-blowing to me as a writer. And I think you can see the way that I'm transmitting these emotions, because it's just baffling, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm happy that I am a poet. I'm happy that I am poetic, and I am happy that I get to enjoy life in a much more intense way than most people, because I feel like if you lack that poetic component of your life, you're only gonna see an ocean, you're only gonna see a moon, you're only gonna see a night sky, you're only gonna see a sunset. You're not gonna see how deep the ocean can be. You're not gonna see how bright the moon shines at night. You're not gonna see how illuminating the dark sky can be, and you're not gonna see how beautiful the sunset is. And I will leave you guys with that. That is one of the best things, and that's why I like to write poetry, because I like being expressive. I like experiencing new things in a different dimension, and I like being outside the box. I like thinking outside the box, and it's fascinating. And yeah, if you guys out there believe that you have that poetic spark in you, let it shine. Don't be afraid of being called a poet. Don't be afraid of being called a softie. Just let it go and enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it yourself, you're gonna be lost not enjoying a lot of things, because it is a wonderful quality to have. It is one of the best things that, again, I've been gifted with, and it's a wonderful talent. So with that being said, I will leave you with the following. Do you know of a poet? Have you ever called anybody that you, if you know anybody that likes to write poetry, have you called them a softie? Have you called them these things? And do you know how that makes them feel? Does it hurt their feelings, or do they like it? You never know. Let me know down below. Again, if you know of a poet, if you like a certain poet, is there a poem that you relate to in general? A poem that defines your life per se, or I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I would like to know about more poets out there, read poetry, and be engaged in the poetic world in that sense. So yeah, let me know down below. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. And I will see you tomorrow Thursday, with a brand new episode of Writing with Gray. Thank you so much for coming on this journey of my own, and don't forget to go on your journey of your own. Until next time, bye!